What if I told you that sloth, the so called sin of laziness, isn't about doing nothing? What if it's actually about doing too much of the wrong things? We live in a world of infinite escape routes, endless scrolling, binge watching, gaming marathons, drugs, alcohol, even overworking yourself can be a form of escape. Anything to keep from facing reality. And the craziest part, it doesn't even feel like avoidance. It just feels like entertainment, like coping, like just unwinding for a bit. But when does a harmless escape become a trap? When does relaxation turn into avoidance? When does escaping reality stop being a break and start becoming your life? That's what we're talking about today. How escapism became the modern form of sloth, how it keeps us from living fully, and how we can break free. The monks who first wrote about it in the 4th century called it acedia, a kind of spiritual numbness. It wasn't just about avoiding work, it was about avoiding life itself. They described it as a restless boredom, a lack of purpose, a refusal to engage with the world. Back then, the danger was sitting in idleness, letting the days pass by without action. But today, we don't sit in silence. We fill every moment with noise. We have traded in stillness for distraction, scrolling through our phones, diving into endless content, losing ourselves in substances that dull the pain. It's the same problem as before, only now it's disguised as entertainment, self-care, or even just staying plugged in. So where did this shift happen? Well, for most of human history, escaping reality wasn't so easy. Life was hard, and the distractions were few and far between. But then came industrialization, and with it, the rise of mass entertainment. Novels, radio, television, and then eventually the internet. Each step made it easier and easier to disconnect from reality. And now, we have an entire world at our fingertips. Social media, streaming services, video games, drugs, alcohol, workaholism. There's always another distraction, another dopamine hit. And the more we escape, the harder it becomes to face reality when we have to. So why do we escape? I mean, the short answer is because reality is hard. Life is stressful, overwhelming, and sometimes really painful. And as humans, we are wired to avoid discomfort. It's in our DNA. Our biology tells our brain to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And that's where escapism comes in. Whether it's a drink after work, a few hours of video games, or just mindlessly scrolling through TikTok, it all gives us an instant sense of relief. And that's not necessarily bad. Everyone needs a break sometimes. The pressure we face on a daily basis is immense. But the problem is when those breaks become the default. When we start using distractions as a way to avoid facing our emotions, our responsibilities, or ourselves, when the escape becomes more comfortable than the reality. So, for example, I am sure we all know people, or maybe even are people, that have spent 10 hours a day playing video games, but never realized that your real life goals are slipping out of your fingers. Or maybe you, after a stressful day of work, have a drink, maybe a whole bottle of wine. And maybe you don't start to realize that every day starts to be a rough day at work. Or maybe you're just a doom scroller looking at all the news every day, scrolling and scrolling, seeing all the headlines, all the terrible things that are happening, but then never taking action. And there's another form of escapism that people don't talk about enough. In fact, it's actually praised: workaholism. We think of overworking as ambition, as being productive, but oftentimes it's just another way to avoid real life. If you're pouring all of your energy into your job, if you're always striving for those seemingly tangible goals, always trying to be employee of the month, then you can avoid your emotions. You can avoid your relationships or your personal struggles. And that's just as much of an escape as drugs or alcohol or video games or binge watching TV shows. The problem is, the more we escape, the more we lose. Time, motivation, relationships, even our sense of self. First, there's the personal toll. The more you avoid your problems, the bigger they get. Your stressors aren't going to simply disappear because you binge watch an entire season of a show. Your loneliness isn't going to disappear because you spend hours developing your own virtual world. Your debt isn't going to vanish because you avoid looking at your bank account. And then, of course, there's the mental and emotional toll, because the more you rely on escapism, the harder it becomes to cope with your real emotions. You numb out so much that when you do inevitably face reality, you feel completely unprepared. Depression, anxiety, existential dread will hit you harder because you haven't had to face it. You haven't built up a resilience by dealing with it. And of course, maybe the biggest issue of all is the societal impact. A world full of people that are constantly distracted is a world where issues just don't get solved. Governments love a population that is too busy watching Netflix to pay attention to what's going on around them. Corporations thrive when people are too distracted to bother asking questions and holding them to account. The more you choose to escape, the more power you choose to give up. Escapism itself isn't evil. As with everything, the issue is balance. The goal is not to cut out all of your entertainment, all of your video games, all of your social media. The goal is to simply take control, to make sure that you're using these things rather than letting them use you. The first step to that is having awareness. You have to recognize when you're escaping for fun, to enjoy yourself, to experience something new, or when you're escaping to avoid reality. So you have to pay attention to your habits. And you really do have to ask yourself intentionally, am I taking a break right now? Am I using this escapism in a healthy way? Or am I running away from something? Do I absolutely need to beat this level right now? Or is it just that I can't bear to look at that pile of dishes? And then you have to face whatever it is that you are trying to escape from. Instead of simply trying to numb it away or ignore the problem and hope that it disappears, sit with it, journal about it, meditate on it. Have a genuine internal dialogue with yourself about what's going on. And if you have somebody that you trust and respect, talk to them about it. The more you confront your emotions, the more you confront these uncomfortable feelings that you have, the less power they will have over you. And finally, you have to be extraordinarily diligent in replacing your passive escapist habits with active engaging habits. And what I mean by that is, instead of, for example, just mindlessly scrolling and just kind of consuming like popcorn content, low effort shorts, just things that you can basically shut your brain off to, try engaging in thought provoking material. Try reading something that makes you think. Have an actual conversation with yourself about the deeper meaning behind it. Instead of just sitting there and, binge watching another season of 90 Day Fiancé, try creating something. Paint, draw, write, Engage yourself in creativity. And most importantly, instead of avoiding your problems, actively engage them one at a time. You have to start small and work your way up. The world is never going to stop offering us ways to escape. Our society is essentially built around it. So it's up to you to choose when to engage, when to step back, and when to truly live. Sloth isn't just laziness, it's avoidance. And escapism, when left unchecked, is one of the biggest traps of modern life. It's not about quitting entertainment altogether, but about making sure that you're actually living, not just consuming. So here's my challenge for you. The next time you reach for your phone to scroll through TikToks, the next time you are thinking about turning on your TV and letting it run, the next time you're about to pour yourself that drink, just ask yourself, am I doing this to escape from something? Am I doing this so that I don't have to think about something really uncomfortable? If the answer is yes, I challenge you to put it down for a moment. Sit with yourself in silence, in meditation. Journal about it. If it's a problem that you can solve, go take one step in solving it. Just one step. You don't have to conquer the entire thing in one go. You don't have to let perfect be the enemy of good. But if you can take one step towards accomplishing that big, scary thing, you've already won. I hope you have enjoyed this perspective on how escapism is the modern day version of sloth. If you agree or disagree with anything that I said in this episode, I would love to hear from you below. So please comment and let me know. If you have any personal experiences or anecdotes with dealing with escapism, genuinely, I would love to hear about it. Whether you found successful coping strategies or if you're still struggling. Speaking of which, if you'd like to join our community, I've always got a link to the Discord in the description. I would love to see you there. In the next episode of our modern 7 Deadly Sins series, we're going to be examining lust and its surprising modern day equivalent. See you then.